Hey now, so really busy with busy season. I'm only down to one of these a week, so I apologize for that. So give me another month, but we'll get these out more quickly. That being said, today we're going to talk about Charles A. Chief Bender. Now, no one in baseball would be called Chief today. It's a pretty derogatory name, agreed. But back in the turn of the century, of the 20th century, there were quite a few Native American players, and they were called Chief, and they were treated pretty harshly, to be honest. But Chief Bender was a great teammate by all accounts. Ty Cobb thought he was one of the smartest players in baseball. He is partially credited with inventing the slider, which was called like the nickel curve at the time. So there's been disputes about that. But regardless, he is a Hall of Famer. He got in, I believe, in 1953. He did die before his induction ceremony. So you will not see any signed postcards. You will not see any inscribed baseballs or anything like that. So if you see one, just run. So without any further ado, let's talk about Charles A. Chief Bender. So starting off, this is my autograph of Chief Bender, and it has a special place in my heart. And without getting too descriptive, the reason why is when I originally started collecting autographs, I collected all the in-person living Hall of Famers. And about 2008, 2009, I got them all. I was very excited, but like, now what do I do? And one day I made a decision, okay, I'm going to go for all of the deceased, which I know I'll never be able to finish. But the first one I picked up of the toughies, not including like a cool Papa Bell check or a barrel check, was Chief Bender right here. I bought this program. I'm looking at it. It's right up there right now. It was signed and dated in 1949. It's in the lower left corner. You can't see it. And I bought this unauthenticated. It was about $100, and it looked right. I did a lot of research, not as much as I did now. But again, so when you're looking for any Chief Bender autograph, the key things you want to look at here is he rarely ever signed Charles, his legal first name. He only saved that for like some legal documents, and that's really about it. You're going to find Chief or maybe a Chief C.A. Bender. And usually the Chief will be in quotations because that was the nickname. So again, you want to look for the big loops. Now, usually a couple things to look out for, and we'll talk about this later. The Chief, the bottom loop should be towards the bottom of the C right here. It should not be high up. And the the letters should be bunched together. There's not a lot of space. Now, he died at 70 years old, so you shouldn't see any shakiness whatsoever. So again, the F is beautiful. Usually you see the loop here. It loops around, and it loops around here and comes up. And again, that Bender, again, it should be a nice steady motion with the R going straight up to end it. So this is my Chief Bender autograph. I thought about upgrading it, but this has a lot of special meaning for me. And you can see when he signed this this was actually signed in 1949, and he was a scout for the Athletics then. He was pitched for the Philadelphia Athletics. He jumped to the Federal League, and that was pretty much the end of his career. So let's look a little bit more on his autograph on the PSA website. So again, this is probably signed a little bit later in life. This is a really beautiful photo. Again, this is the C.A. Bender. He didn't add till a little later, but you can see right here, the bottom loop goes across the bottom, not a big gap between the C and the H right here. And it's a nice, smooth consistency. We can move on right here. This is a beautiful legal document. Again, very rare. Usually early on, you can tell this is an earlier document because he wasn't signing Chief yet. You'll see in a minute that he signed it so often. And number two is early on, the B did not go straight into the E. It went off, and you could see the R went straight down. It didn't come up. This is a very rare version of a signature. Don't expect to see this version very often. Okay, again, here we go. Much more common. This is 1938. Again, he lived over about another 15 years. You can see the C down, not a lot of break right here. And again, very nice, smooth. The R coming straight up, the quotations around the C. Again, same thing right here. Again, 1938 signature. Again, 1947 letter. Again, beautiful letter right here. And again, he's still signing Chief C.A. Bender. I want to get to a few more before we move on. Again, they're all the same. These are all in the database. You can see coming below, the C's coming at the bottom, the breaks, nice, and the R coming straight up. This is 1952, 1953. Again, this is towards the end of his life now. And you can see right here that the C is a little higher, but again, very small break. coming straight up at the end. Let me find the ones I want to show here. So this is one thing I want to show you. This is a contract from 1944 with Connie Mack. And usually the contracts, people sign their legal name. So this is, even on this contract, he signed Chief C.A. Bender, which is like, he didn't even sign Charles A. Bender. So I thought that's very interesting. Now, we're going to come back to this in a second right here. Well, let's go to it right now. Ron, and I'm not saying he's wrong here, thinks this is a fake ball. A couple of things to look out for is it's a pearl white ball. Now, the C is very high up. We see where the loop is. It's very higher than normal. And there's a big break between the C and the H. It's a real long gap. So it's unlike, like, go right here. You see how close that is right there and how low these all C's are? I'll go to somebody. You see low C, not a big break. Let's go back to this baseball here. So again, a much higher loop, much higher break. So, and again, this B right here, it's tough to see, but if you look closely, it's not very fluid. You can see some hesitation right there. And he died young, and there shouldn't be any hesitation. So if you see a baseball like this, you need to really be careful. And Chief Bender took a lot of pride in his signature. So if we go up to Heritage, these are some beautiful signed baseballs. And I've never seen a real Chief Bender baseball signed across the sweet spot. He usually signed on the side of panel of the baseball because he took a lot of pride in his autograph. You can see right here, these go for a lot of money. You're going to spend easily $5,000. Now, there are a couple of checks in the market. Unfortunately, every check I've seen from Chief Bender has cancellation marks. I don't know if we can zoom in on this or not. Let's see if we can zoom in here. Okay, keep going to go up. Go up. Come on. So you can see right down here, all his checks are signed C.A. Bender. Again, no Charles. But again, every check I've seen, unfortunately, has cancellations going through them, and they're quite rare. You can expect to pay probably close to $1,000 for a Chief Bender check. Expect to pay a lot more if you can find one without cancellations going through it. So that's about it. He signed a lot. I mean, granted, he's not going on a show circuit, but he was always in baseball, whether he was pitching, whether he was coaching, scouting. He was very good from all accounts, signing through the mail. So again, not a terribly rare autograph, but I mean, you're talking a turn of the century player, and he won numerous World Series with the Athletics, the Connie Mack's Athletics and stuff like that. So expect to pay, I would say, at least $500, if not more, for a nice index card or a government postcard, which I always recommend. And even higher baseball, again, we're talking thousands of dollars. They're out there. Just be careful of the one sign of a pearl white baseball. Let's see if we can pull it up again. Be careful, just pearl white baseball, single sign going across the laces like that. So that's about it. We're going to try to get to Yogi Berra. I'm going to try and film him soon. Believe it or not, for as much as Yogi Berra signed, he's still forged like anybody else. So that's about it. As always, keep collecting.